Welcome back to another video. The engine is all but back together. I want to get on and paint the front end, including the axle that I've got down here, which needs a new pin and bush. I've never changed the pin and bush in one of these, but it looks like it could be quite a pig to change. It might require some destructive dismantling. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is my front axle, and this is the pin and bush in question. Yeah, the pin is bolted here. This is the pin, and there's supposed to be a bush in here. That, well, to be fair, I've seen them a lot worse than this. But the last one I done, the guy didn't want to touch it, which seemed like a bit of a bodge to me, but each to their own. But I'm not leaving mine like that. I've got to try and get that apart. Let me get you on there. Now, I've ordered a new bush. I haven't ordered a pin yet because I can't actually see how worn the pin is. The pin doesn't look too bad at first inspection, but I suspect we'll probably have to change that too. But first of all, I've got to get it out. The bush I'm going to try and press out on my press. If I can't press it out, I'll use an end mill on the mill, and I'll take a bite through it so I can collapse the bush. But I guess first of all, we got to undo that big bolt. So let me find some tools. We'll undo that and we'll see how much of a fight this is going to put up. Okay, the bolt holding the pin in is 15/16 of an inch. I've managed to knock it loose with a spanner, and it has unwound. What I don't know is how is that bush pressed in. I'm presuming that it's got a big bolt on it that's not pressed in. It is moving. It is moving, or it appears to be moving. Hang on a minute. It is moving, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to douse it in WD-40 and give it a while. And hopefully we can get it out. Like I said, I want to replace the pin and bush, and I want to paint all this and the engine so I can put the front wheels back on. I mentioned in the last video, this doesn't move around easily. I need to steam clean the back end off, and it's just easier with some front wheels on it. So I need to get that pin and bush sorted, which is what I am doing today, somehow. So yeah, I'm going to get that covered in WD-40, let that soak down for a bit, get some WD-40, and hopefully it doesn't put up too much of a fight. I've only recently, I bought this WD-40 from Napa when I was in there the other day. I did buy a gallon of WD-40 in a squirty bottle years ago, but then it seemed to disappear. But how much better is that than the bloody aerosol cans? I think it's substantially better. I wonder if that pin had knocked through. Let me get a punch. This is probably wishful thinking, and I might have to put some heat in it, but I'm going to give it a go. She is moving. She is moving. I'm quite shocked at that. I thought this was going to be a beast. I thought that was going to be a beast to move. She's knocked out a bit there though. But she is coming. The pin doesn't actually look too bad. Right, it's a good job we're changing it because we've only got half a bush left in there. And there is our pin. Which I don't know if it'll show up on camera. But I think we need a new pin. And the bush. Well, we've only got half a bush. Let me show you. We've only got half a bush in there. That bush is dead. I've got a new bush coming, but I haven't got the pin coming. But I think what I'll do, I'll clean this up so it goes in and out easy. And I'll use that just for assembly purposes. But I have got to clean all this up so I can paint it. So, well really, I've got to get some paint prep going on. So I'm going to have to get here and clean all this up, steam clean it, take the radiator mount off and get some new rubbers sorted for that. Take the mounting plate off the front of the engine and get that cleaned up. I'm probably going to paint the engine up to the bell housing and the front axle. And then when I'm ready to paint the rest, I can just blend it all in. I'm using Vapormatic enamel paint, so we haven't got to worry about matching it up or any of that nonsense. So now I've just got to get the rest of that bush out of that hole, which I think I will use the press for. So I'll get the press sorted out, set that up, and we'll get back pressing that bush. Okay, I've had this sat here for quite a while now. We are at just under 11 tons. I've heated the axle. The bush isn't moving. Okay, I didn't use the mill or any of that. I simply welded the inside of the bush to shrink it down, and it popped straight out. So I can clean that up now and get that ready for a new bush. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. I have got the new bush in the front arm and a new pin. The bolt that retains the pin, the threads are knackered in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tap that out to M18 by 2.5. And I've got a M18 by 2.5 bolt coming. I'm going M18 by 2.5 because that hole is the right size to basically tap straight out for M18. And yeah, other than that, it's all had a coat of paint. When I paint the whole thing, I will spray this as well. But basically, I wanted to get paint down all in the places you won't get to with the paint gun. But we got a shiny blue bit on our tractor. Yeah, I think next, that paint's going to take a while to dry. It's quite damp and humid in here at the moment. I might even fire up a heater. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start looking at the front axles. I've got one there and one there. I won't worry about the stays for the minute, but I would like to get the ends on the axle so we can put some wheels on it. I am attempting to get this bolt out of this front axle half. This bit's free. It's not on the other one over there on the floor, but I have got my big bar on it, that one, and it ain't moving, so I've got to put a lot more heat in this. I want that bolt out. Yeah, I got a feeling I am just twisting the head at the moment, only a tiny bit, but I don't want to snap that bolt off, because then I've got to drill it out, and I don't want to have to do that. I'm going to continue heating it here, and hopefully I can get it to break free. But once I've got these sorted, I can bolt them on our front end, which I've shown already. It's got some paint on it, and hopefully we can get some wheels back on this tractor. So bear with me. I'll get the heat into this, and hopefully we can free that bolt. If we can't, well, then we're going to have to use some destructive techniques to get it out. But I'll come back to you shortly when I've made progress, good or bad. Right, after a fight and a half, I've got the bolt out without damaging it. I've cleaned up this, what would you call that? It's the, I'm going to say this loosely, it's the driver's side, although the driver obviously sits in the middle. But it's this side, which is the right side as you're sat in the tractor. That has all been painted, cleaned up, new bush and pin as mentioned. I've cleaned up and painted that upright, the steering arm, and obviously the front hub. I'm not touching the front hubs. The wheel bearings are excellent because I looked at them not that long ago. I've got new thrust bearings for the bottom of the uprights. And yeah, when all this is on and bolted together, I will give it all another coat with the spray gun. This is just to make sure that everything's got a good coat of paint on the front end. Just tapping this bolt out. I can't remember what size it was. M18 I've done it. So we'll have 1 metric bolt on the tractor. I've had to drill this ear out a little bit. But that should be good. There, I'll just get a spanner to tighten that up, and that is another job done. I'm going to have to get some heat in here. It's so damp and cold in here that my paint is still tacky. I've still got bits hanging up here. But that's this side I'm painting at the moment. I'm going to get this side cleaned up and painted today as well. And then we can put some wheels back on our tractor. Okay, after a lot of fighting, the front axle is all assembled and on, and I've given it all a coat of paint. I think it's had 2 coats of paint with the brush. When I spray the rest of the tractor, I'll probably give this a coat as well, just to clean up the finish and get a uniform finish. I haven't used any primer with this paint. Everything's still got well attached red oxide on it, like you can see on the gearbox. The engine obviously hasn't got any. I don't find any benefit to priming cast metal when you're using enamel paint, which I believe we are. I've freed up all the... Still got wet paint on there. These are both now free moving. That one was particularly seized up, but it come out no problem. The bushes are all fine. I cleaned up the shaft that comes through there, up through here. It's got new, what do they call them, thrust bearings in the bottoms. Always worth changing bearings on things like this because they were quite crunchy. We've got, as mentioned, we got a new pivot pin and bush. And I had to drill this bolt out and re-tap it. M18 I think it is, because the threads were all knackered in there. So we got a new bolt holding the pin in. I'm going to have to get some heat in here because it is quite cold and damp. And the paint is taking forever to dry. But I'll fire up the space heater, that'll soon go hard. But that is all together. I did mention this bolt. This bolt had seized up. I've got the bolt over here on the bench somewhere. Hang on, let's scan through the mess. Here it is. This bolt is a 5/8 I think it is. A 15/16 spanner size. It is 15/16. That drops down through there and holds the stays on that go back up to there. These are the stays stood up there. That was an animal to drill out. Luckily I have got the milling machine. I didn't film it because I had me here. My daughter was holding the stay. The stay was obviously stuck on there because the bolt holds it in. So with, what do you call this bit? For the sake of argument, I'm going to call this the stanchion. I don't know whether that's what it is. I took the hub off to make it a little easier to work with. But that was a hell of a fight getting that out of there. But we've got it out and we haven't damaged anything. But overall, I'm very pleased. The front end is all back together and in tip-top condition. So now I've got to get on and clean the rest of it up. I'm going to clean up to the back of the bell housing and spray this. Then I shall put the wheels on and we can get it out and we can clean the back end up. We still got a few jobs to do on the back end before paint. I want to clean up the brake actuators. I've got new rubber boots to go on them. Other than that, it all just needs a bloody good clean. I haven't put the brakes together yet. They're still out of the tractor. I've got to look at the 3-point linkage. It's got this little lock lever here, which locks it in the up position. Now, I have had a bit of trouble with this, and that you've got to bang this up a bit to get it to release. So I'll probably pull that out and see what's going on in there. I've probably just dried up grease and whatnot. But yeah, shiny bits on our tractor. I'm very pleased with that. If you want to know how I cleaned it up, I'm a big fan of a wire wheel on a drill. I've got numerous wire wheels. Just wire brush the hell out of it, get it all cleaned up. Anything that doesn't come off with a wire wheel, you haven't got to worry about. It's not going to come off. And that enamel paint will lock all that in there lovely. Not that there was anything I couldn't get off on this other than red primer. So yeah, there we go. Shiny axle. Very pleased. So that's going to be it for this video. I apologise for the mismatched videos. I do have a day job. Some would argue I don't, but I do. So yeah, it's as and when I can fit it in. But I'm going to try and make the videos a little more structured. I am trying. I am new to this. I am not a videographer. I'm just an old fart in a shed messing around with my tractor. So the other thing is do you want to see me doing more of the actual work? Or do you want me to gloss over that and just show you the end results? Let me know in the comments. I think we're up to 58 subscribers. Thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe please. It all helps. Well, it doesn't help at all really. I earn no money from these videos. In fact, I've spent quite a lot on this tractor already, so I could argue that this is earning me nothing at all. But I just wanted to know, the engine I've spent about... I'm going to estimate the rebuild of the engine has probably cost me £1,600 in parts and machine work. The gear for the gearbox I think was it was either about 80 or 130. I can't remember. I don't keep the receipts because I don't want to know what I've spent on it. So, well, I do keep the receipts, but I don't look at them. But the bearings for the diff, I'm probably at about £2,400 so far in parts for this. So make of that what you will. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. What's the tractor worth done? Haven't got a clue. I won't be selling it. It's my beautiful blue tractor. This is for keeps until I die, and then my kids will sell it off cheap on eBay. So yeah, there we go. But thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye bye.